What's going on, everybody? In this video we're going to go over how to change the diff fluid in both the front and rear for solid axle vehicles. This particular vehicle is a 2001 Jeep Cherokee. Now these are not the stock axles that came on the XJ, however the same process does apply for all solid axles as far as I know. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Starting off, you're going to want to make sure you have your drip pan placed underneath the diff. Start removing the bolts from the bottom and work your way to the top. I'm using an impact wrench here, but you can do it with a socket just fine. When you get to the top, I would loosen that very top bolt just slightly and then crack the seal open with a screwdriver. Let all the oil drain out, and then once you have that, you can go back and take the top bolt off and let it completely drain. What I'm using here is a manual vacuum pump from Topsider, just to ensure that I get all of the old oil out from the bottom of the carrier. And I'll post this. I'll post a link to this below if you're interested to check that out. After you get all the oil drained out of the carrier, next thing you're going to do is make sure you clean the mating surface where the differential cover meets up with the carrier. Now, I just use a screwdriver to get the old gasket off if it remains left over, and use some brake clean after you get all the gasket off to remove any oil that's on the metal. Now that you have your diff cover completely clean, it is time to apply your new gasket. Now you can do it a couple of ways. You can go around the exterior and then circle each bolt hole, as I started off doing. But as I was doing this, I had the idea to just do an outer layer on the outside of the bolt hole and then go back and do an inner layer. And I think that that's going to work great, and it's a lot easier to do and takes a lot less skill, if you will. By the way, this is just red RTV gasket maker. Now we're ready to reinstall the diff cover. I like to have the top bolt already in as I line it up, screw it in, and then go around and hand tighten the rest of the bolts. Once we have all the bolts in place, we're going to go back with just a socket and snug everything up, but make sure that you do not tighten these bolts down all the way just yet, because we are going to let this gasket set overnight just to make sure we get a good cure. Now that the front is set, we're going to move on to the rear using the exact same process we did in the front. One thing to note, I did use a wire brush in the rear to get that gasket off completely, and it worked out really good. Good morning. So we let the gasket dry overnight, and now we're going to go back and snug everything up. Now when you do this, you're going to want to work in a cross pattern. I usually go clockwise, starting at the top, so I go top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. I just work my way around the diff cover. Once we have everything snugged up nice, we are going to remove the fill plug and start to add our new gear oil. My choice of oil is this Royal Purple 85W140. Now this XJ spends about 95% of its time off-road, so I wanted something that's nice and thick. And this contraption here is just a suction pump. I paid like 15 bucks for it, and I'll also link that below if you're interested in checking that out. I forgot to mention to make sure when you're doing this that your vehicle is on a completely level surface. Now once the fluid starts flowing back out of your fill port, that is how you know it is full. Once that happens, go ahead and replace your plug, and let's move on to the rear. Once that is done, replace your plug in the rear and you are all set to ride.